All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. We're here in X-Plane 11, and we have something pretty cool. We have an F-16. So, thought this would be pretty cool. Been kind of like into fighters a little bit. This is my favorite fighter jet. And I just figured I'd just, bite the bullet, pick it up. So, this is the F-16 from DW Sim. Very cool aircraft. I've been playing around with it for probably like about 2 weeks now. Not like super proficient in it, but good enough to get a flight without killing this, without destroying the airplane. Or so, for the most part, we're just gonna get in. We're gonna do a flight from Homestead all the way Homestead, Florida, into Eglin Air Force Base, and we're in this livery for the Florida National Guard, which I thought was pretty cool. But look at that. That is just awesome. Especially that power plant is just so cool seeing these things. But yeah, we're not gonna be too much of a tutorial video, but I did thought that it'd be nice to have something up out there on YouTube for folks to see, like, hey, how do you actually operate this airplane? Because there are some things that I have questions on that I can't really find an answer for. So, hopefully we get some more episodes and stuff, more engagement on this, particularly get some more information out there for anyone that does have this airplane and kind of want to figure out how to really use it. So I know I found myself looking at probably more DCS videos on how to use it. I haven't really went in to say that it's one-to-one in terms of functionality and the way the systems work, primarily the navigation stuff. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but here we are. So just give me a second. We'll get rolling here in just a few minutes. Alrighty, so let's jump into Cockpit here. Do that. And here we are. You're in a cool little F-16. Right. So what's nice is there is a pretty neat checklist that's, for the most part, straightforward to follow. The one thing I did find with this aircraft was it takes a little bit to understand where everything is. There is a map or a layout of the cockpit in the file manual, but it's not too detailed. So it did take me a little bit to figure out exactly where all of the switches it's called out in the checklist. And you might see me fumble here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and pull up this knee board. This is very neat. And if you click right here, you can just pop that out and get rid of that. Save you some space. So just gonna walk through here so you can change different view things from here. I don't entirely understand how this works, so I just usually don't use it. But here in the flight plan, you can put in your waypoints and it will automatically input that into the DED here. So this DED is pretty much like your flight computer or FMS in other aircraft, and that you just put in your waypoints through here through this little touchpad. Now, what's cool about these, if you haven't known, is that fighters, they take coordinates instead of actually just typing in like the ICAO codes for airports. So that's interesting. Now, fortunately, DW Sim did a really good job to where you can input the ICAO and it will pull out the latitude and longitude and then input that into your DED display. That way your plane will follow it. Well, to an extent. It is still a bit of a manual process, but other than that, it's for the most part straightforward, and we'll touch on that when we get powered up here in a minute. Checklist. Here we go. We got checklists, and then you have your options on how you want the airplane to be, whether you want to see the pilot, what kind of helmet. It's just pretty cool. And then you got the loadout. You can do the conformal fuel tanks here, which for those who haven't seen them, I don't really care for them. I think they look kind of weird, but you can put on conformal fuel tanks on your F-16, which are, for the most part, external fuel tanks that are a bit more attached to the body. They make it look pretty interesting. It does look like a snake's head, a little bit more of a viper, but I don't really care for them. Tail chute, I believe I read actually the American market of F-16s do not carry drag chutes. That's always interesting to see. You can throw your ladder, your chocks on there, and you can put your flags, removable for flight flags on there. So that's cool. Nice little fire extinguisher right there. Safety, safety. And of course that sticks with the ladder. So pretty cool. All right, let's get powered up here. Let's go for the checklist. Go to page 1. Take back in the cockpit. Here we are. So probe heat. That switch is going to be right down in the back here. So that is off currently. Manual TF fly up switch. Right here. That's going to be on enable. Leading edge flap switch to auto. Oop, picked up the camera. There we are. We're good there. Bit switch is going to be off. There it is. Bit switch is off. Trim AP disconnect to normal. So this is your main autopilot functioning switch, which is pretty cool. So that's there. And of course, all your trim controls set up here as well. Roll you up. All of these are centered. So we're good there. Tank inerting switch is going to be off. There it is. Engine feed knob is going to go to normal. Air refuel switch is going to be closed. Yep, there it is. It's on close. IFF master switch is going to be off. Here's your IFF when this pretty much acts as your transponder for the aircraft. As you can see, you can have your squawk code right here. All right, C and I knob to backup. There it is on backup. External lighting control panel. Let's just set this up to go on to bright. You can set this to 1. And just put that normal. And we can just leave those to bright. Air refueling light, that can stay off. We'll just do that to steady. So now what's cool, you might see the anti-collision light. Why is there like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. That's for the most part going to be, if you're flying in a group with other fighters, it's how they tell who is who, which jet is which. They'll all have a flashing or a different beacon pattern. So if your lead aircraft, you'd probably be number 1, then number 2, number 3, number 4, and that's just how they tell each other in the air. It's pretty cool. All right, coming down here, gonna have the master light switch to normal. We just did that. EPU switch to normal with the guard down. EPU switch, yep, that is on normal and the guard down. Come down to main power switch is going to be off. Yep, main power switch is going to be off. Video select knob is going to be on HUD. There it is, it's on HUD. ECM power is off. Electronic countermeasures, all that fun stuff is off. CD and AB reset switch is going to be the normal. That's going to be these switches right up here. So that's going to be on normal. So cool. Yeah, switch normal. And here we go. Priority guard down. Engine continuous switch guard down. Cool. Here we go. Jet fuel starter is off. Throttle. Let's just check freedom of motion really quick. So we're gonna. Huh. That's fantastic. I forgot to plug in my throttle quadrant. Wouldn't have gotten very far with that. at all. So should be, there we go. Freedom of movement. There we go. Right there is about the detent, then afterburner, all that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and stow that. Here we go. Cool. Once you get there, left auxiliary console, alternate gear handle. Oop, honeycomb warning. Alternate gear handle. That is in. CMDS switches, which are these. CMDS, those are off. RF switch is going to go to normal. That's right there. Strobes config, stores config, sorry, as required, which is right here, Cat 1 or Cat 3. So we'll leave that as is. Landing lights, taxi lights, that's in the off position. Landing gear handle, confirm down. Yep. All right, let's go to page 2. Left auxiliary console, landing gear handle, like how we pick up there. Ground jet enable switch is off, right there, that's off. Brakes, channel 1 on the brakes. Anti-skid, switch to anti-skid. Here we go, anti-skid. Emergency stores jettison button, that's good there. It's cover intact. The hook is up. Symbiology power is off. Here we go. Instrument panel. Roll switch is going to put that to attitude hold. Pitch, AP off. Master arm switch is going to go to off. Laser arm switch is off. Drag shoot, that's normal and guarded. HUD and ASHM is going to be set. Altimeter we're going to set. We'll check that here in a few minutes. Fuel quantity select knob. That's going to be to normal. And this one is going to go to normal as well. External fuel tank switch normal. Master knob. Switch to, where's that? Instrument mode. Is as desired. That's what it was. Yep. So this, we can just leave this any which way on these for now. Right auxiliary console. Clock set. Page 3. Sensor power switches are off. HUD control panel. Just set this right here. So these are sensor power switches. This will be your HUD control. Just set these here. Ground speed. To airspeed. There we go. All right. Zero eye switch. That's off. There we go. All right. Wrist rest and armrest as desired. Interior lighting. Go ahead and switch all these up. Why not? Get these bad boys going. All right. Cool. Voice messaging switch to voice message. Temp knob to auto. This will go to normal. Air source to normal. Avionics power switches are going to be off. NEI switches to auto, which it is. Oh, there it is. NEI switches now to auto. IFF. Deselect switch is to normal. Yep, there we go. Those switches are to normal. UF antenna. Where are we at? Oh, UNF. Okay, cool. So we're good there. Page 3. Page 4. My goodness. All right. Main power. Let's go ahead. Start these bad boys up. Quite a checklist for this airplane. If I go back here. and locate our main power switch. See it right here. Main power is on. EPU generator and PAPU PMG lights confirm off, which we're good. Yep, canopy as desired, chocks are in place, and let's go ahead and get a start. Let's go start 2. Okay, did we miss something just now? Which we shouldn't have. Ow. Well, that explains a lot. How did I miss this switch? I thought this was on. There we go. Fuel master. There we are. Alrighty. Now we're gonna watch for this SEC light and wait for this to also get up to 20% RPM. Getting there. FCC light is still on. FCC light off. We stabilize 20%. Go ahead and introduce fuel. We're going to verify that this is back to off. Starter switch. Awesome. Low no pressure. All of those are good. Alright, awesome. Let's go to page 5. Go ahead and close this canopy. Hit that spider switch down. Alright. Probe heat. Go probe heat on. Then test. Back to off. Fire and overheat detect. Let's check. Function. Indicator lights, and check those.
Altitude. Warning. Jammer. Counter.
Alright. And now MMC switch. Gonna hop over here and see. It really just doesn't tell you exactly where you're looking. It's not entirely in a flow, it's just back and forth, but MC switch would be this first one right here. So that'll get switched on. SDA switch. That's going to get switched on. MFD, UFC, GPS track. There we go. And then EGI, we're going to go hit this to align. And we'll set it to normal. And now what we're going to do on this DED display, this is going to reach, I believe, 4 and then /6 is going to count down to 6. So once that hits there, then we can start using our navigation. So it's basically like your IRS align, inertial referencing system. So for now, the left hardpoint HDPT, I believe that's what it is. That's going to be off unless required. The right one will be as required. So just switch that on. FCR switch is on. Radar altimeter switch is going to be able to be on. Alright. No. Yeah, add an ASHM as desired. CNI knob. We're gonna come back over here to our CNI and switch that to UFC. And then multifunction lights cleared. MFL is cleared. Simultaneously, let's get some brightness on these screens. And also with our HUD. There we are. So daytime, it's always good to just have this kind of that dark color because it's really hard to see when it's like bright green. So we are good there. All right, MFL clear. Page 6. And pretty much before takeoff, we're just gonna cycle flight controls, check the speed, brake, trims. No anti-ice brakes. We're gonna set those up. Here it comes, Avionics bit. And pretty much that's it. For taxi, EGI knob. Yep. So right here, let's do a quick flight control check. Pull left, pull right, down, up. Let's pop over to the other side. Pull left. There we are, left, right. Cool. So we're good there. Just checking our flight controls. I actually set this to park and brake channel 1. There we are. And we're just waiting, almost there. And let's also set that. Arm the ejection seat. And for the most part, everything here is good. That's the normal. It's the normal. Just gonna squawk all zeros today. Trims and everything looks fine. And we'll get our little waypoints in here and we'll try something. I did find a reference to do like a tankering pattern online, but we'll see if I can get that info inside the DED. Right. Let's also check our oxygen over here. I'm just gonna switch that to normal. There we are. Boom. There we go. Good there. All right. Let's check this again. There we go. 4 and 6. So now we can switch this EGI switch to nav, and we're good to start inputting waypoints. So, in order, and I'll just pull up the HSD here. Let's change. Let's go ahead, decouple this. Nope. Decouple. There we are. So now we can zoom in and out as we need. We're gonna go over here to steer points, and this will be our first steer point. So you see the sky vector to pull up a basic route that I have, and to get up to where we need to go, I'm gonna pull this up, put that away. We're gonna go into our flight plan calculator, and now that we have the first steer point set up, our first waypoint is going to be the Vortac Romeo Sierra Whiskey RSW in South Florida. Hit enter, and now let's watch this screen when I hit load to DED. There it is. There are those waypoints. Gonna, oh, there we are. I'm gonna cursor down, here, and I'm going to input the 20-foot altitude above sea level. Going to hit enter. This is now manual. All right, and now what I'm going to do next is move to my next steer point. Which should be that. Yep, that's steer point number 1. This is going to be steer point number 2, which is going to be EIE, which is St. Petersburg. Nope. IE. Let's hit enter. That's going to be 7 feet. There we are. Steer point number 2. And now I'm going to step down, change that altitude to 7 feet. Hit enter. I'm going to go up here. Now let's try and figure out how do we get into, if we can. Let's see. See if I can figure this part out. I have my degrees. Let's say I wanted to do three, 7. Oh, I guess I can't figure that part out, so that's fine. We'll just go straight into VPS. So I'll just put in KVPS. And let me move this down to be steer point number 3, which we're going to load that, and that's going to be Eglin Air Force Base, which is going to be 85 feet. There we are. So we should have our route in a manual setup here. Now I'm just going to go back here. Not 4. We're just going to go to waypoint number 2. Waypoint number 1. I'm going to step from 1 to 2. 3. Oh, okay, gotcha. So now the active one is waypoint number 1. Let me zoom out. There we are. That's our route. So from 1, 2 to 3, that'll get us there. So here we go. I can zoom in just a little bit. I can remove this kneeboard now. And for the most part, let me just get the weather at both airports so I can tell you where I'm going to land. KHST is where we're at right now. All right. The weather, 340 at 10 miles, scattered clouds at 2,200 feet, 29 degrees, temperature 299.1. Let's go ahead and set up our altimeter. Right here. It's going to go here. 299.1. Yeah, we're good. Okay, awesome. So 340, we're going to take 60. Yeah, it's at 60, 70, 80. So we'll do runway 6. It's about an 80-degree crosswind, 4 knot. Yeah, about 4 knots directly to our side, to our left. So we'll take runway 6. And on the map here, let's just take a look at where we're generally at. Yep, runway 6. So we're gonna just cut a left, hit the taxiway all the way down, and we should be there. Awesome. Now then, let's go ahead and check the weather in Destin. There we go. We are gonna refresh that data. All right, limit is 3005-090 at 6 knots. That means we're gonna take 12, about 12,000 feet. And on a map, just to make sure we know how we're flying, we're gonna fly up here, then up to here, and then we're gonna shoot across over to Eglin, which if I remember correctly is right here. All right, so now we're looking for runway 12, which going this way is 90, so we're gonna come up and around and land here, 120. So we're gonna fly up to here, we're gonna go visual, come around, and land. So that's perfect. Let me find myself. All right, awesome. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit our taxi lanes. Go ahead, test the speed brake. All right, we're good there. And let's remove these brakes. Let's get rolling. So, as you can probably see, yeah, this thing does take quite a bit to get spun up. Minus, you know, me talking about some of the features and other stuff. You know, these aren't just turn key and go like a regular car. There's a interesting sequence waiting for this DED navigation stuff to load up, and if you really were to do all your function checks and everything, it takes a few minutes. That's almost with any plane. You know, usually does take probably like 20 minutes to get an airplane on, like, start up and running if you do all your tests diligently, properly. But taxiing observations on this airplane, it honestly feels like the brakes are non-existent in this thing. I'll just be quite frank. I don't know if that's how it actually feels in the real jet, but I'm pretty sure the military spends a lot in aircraft brakes if this is the case. I mean, you can probably ride the brakes to get a good, you know, 10 knot taxi or 5 to 10 knot taxi. Just end up riding the brakes sometimes. So other than that, it's just gonna blow away from you, and it's just idle thrust. Normally jets have very poor static thrust, but this thing, where it's just so light, it's just so overpowered, it just gets up and goes. It just gets up and goes. Now, weapon functionality for this airplane actually does. I tried it out the other day. The gun works, doesn't have a lot of ammunition. There we go, we're speeding up again. Hit the brakes there. The gun doesn't have like crazy ammunition, which is pretty obvious. But I haven't figured out how to launch these air-to-air stuff yet. Still have to play around with this, you know, read up on it some more if I can find the information. Oh, not paying attention. But once I do, I definitely like to make a video demonstrating that kind of functionality for this airplane. Because it honestly would be cool. And that's part of the, I got into this fighter kick, was just, you know, just being able to like take that tactical approach and, you know, do cool stuff like that. I haven't really had the time to dive in and jump in to go straight into something like DCS. That would be a bit more commitment than just, you know, casually or more in a training effort flying around in X-plane. And I think some people might notice, hey, you've been flying X-Plane a little bit more back to back almost. What happened to the flight sim, some of the commercial stuff or general aviation stuff? Well, to be frank, I don't really, just to be frank, I really dislike Microsoft Flight Simulator. And it, like, is it personal? I don't know, but you know, Microsoft hasn't done anything to me specifically or anything like that, but the overall UI and the camera controls and general functionality, if they had just kept that from FSX, just the way X-Plane kept X-Plane 11 UI and functionality into X-Plane 12, it's just so much better. In my humble opinion, I find that whenever I pick up in a new airplane in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I spend way too much time just setting up camera controls and view functions, etc. Whereas that was something that which was, you know, pretty standard, pretty default across all sims. The hat movements, it didn't just made you look like this and then back when you move your hat on your joystick. I find that pretty irritating and have to reset that whenever you know, have a new profile for an airplane. You know, just there's no reason my hat should do that. My hat should do this. A nice pan and a nice pan. And it shouldn't be buried in. There's just too much controls for that. Just too much controls. So let's go here. Let's turn on our pitot heat. And we know our anti-ice switches are on. Oxygen is on. Air duct. Everything is there. Let's go ahead and parking brakes are off. Switch on these landing lights. And this is something that I cannot get rid of. Aft fuel being low and then avionics fault. I'm not sure where in the configuration I follow the checklist up through to getting this thing powered up, and I still have these two lights, so clearly I'm missing something. But you know, if anyone knows, just shoot it in the comments, let me know, and you know, try and figure out how to get rid of that. But that's honestly the only gripe I have with this, is I cannot find a resource to get rid of those lights. I mean, no one really talks about it. I don't know if it's something wrong with my aircraft in particular, but it just doesn't get talked about. But without further ado, let's get in the air. Like I said, you don't really need a lot to get this thing going. You really don't need a lot to get this girl going. That looks great. Alrighty, let's go. Positive rate, you're up. You got to be quick with derating the throttles there, because you can really get this thing way out of line really fast for being over general, you know, commercial or residential areas. Usually I pull it up to about 200 knots. Right now we're doing about 193. And out here, out of Homestead Air Base, just make that right turn out over the waters. Try and get up as quickly as possible, and then proceed on route. We were pretty high on our alpha. We're good now. Man, this thing is just fun to really, when you get her up there, it's pretty fun. Switch that landing light off. $18,000. Change the altimeter to 992. There we are. And we'll track right into that steer point that we put up there. And for the most part, just manually fly it in. Because this plane does have autopilot, but it's more of like a pitch hold, attitude, roll hold situation. So it's more so on the pilot to keep it flying. But it's really just a straight shooter, you know, it's point and shoot kind of thing. Nothing ridiculous, not really like messing with twin airplanes where you have adverse yaw or, you know, gyro effect, anything like that. Defect, nothing of that sort. It really is just a point and shoot. Very minimal with the trim. You really don't need to trim this airplane hardly at all. Very limited circumstance for that. Coming up to flight level 300. And it does really well. Does really well. So I'm in there, 275. How high do I plan on taking this? I don't know. Above normal airline stuff, probably. But flying like this, probably take it up to about 40, 45. Go ahead and check in on Russ. Yep. Turn up my contrast there. Just like that, it's pretty controlled, you know. What could be broken? Okay, that's why. We're a little slow. We'll pick up speed here in a minute. Oh, it's like that. Okay. Let's punch out of it. Did not see that coming. Usually able to cruise with that power setting. Guess she didn't like it. But we're good. Yep. I guess up here in the flight levels, 190 is probably our minimum safe speed. We're coming up on an RSW right here on the HSD. But this is great. It's really easy to fly this thing. Go ahead and level the airplane right here. Still on the climb. Let's go ahead and switch on our altitude hold. And just like that, it does not work. It does not work at all. So frustrating with that. We kind of just be out here trimming the airplane, trying to maintain the altitude. And then even that, it just keeps climbing, keeps climbing, keeps climbing, keeps climbing. All right, we're still pretty fast. It's 400 knots. True airspeed is interesting. Hey, welcome to the stream, folks. Howdy, howdy. This is actually interesting. So that diamond virtually needs to sit on this line. And it's a little bit weird because it makes you think that you're in a descent, but it's actually not the case. You're more so at eye level with that on the display. It's really weird how that works. You can see now I'm descending. See the crosshairs there? That's what you're tracking with this airplane. It can be fairly tricky, especially like first time in the airplane. You're not really entirely sure what's going on. See, there it goes. It's trying to make me climb again. Now if I switch this to auto, this should actually work fine. See, well, there we go, climb it again. And what I did just now was just switch the steer points to automatic, so it should trigger the next one once I cross over this. Just like as if I'm flying, well, I still am flying over VOR, but that's hopefully what it should do. Look at that, already at 49. Come on, this thing just does not stop climbing. But I'm impressed though. I didn't think fighter jets would be so, in honesty, easy to fly. It honestly becomes difficult to fly the closer you are to the ground. I think that probably goes for any airplane. It's all fun and dandy when you're like a few thousand feet up. Then you get close to the ground, and that's where things become sketch. Yeah, got a little bit of pilot noise there. Feeling some of those G's. I do like that about this airplane. We're gonna climb. Just about 50,000 feet here. Come on. Really waiting to see if this is gonna ping over to the next one. Well, at least I'll know that that part of the plane works. Should. Come on, you're on automatic. You can do it. Gotta give these things encouragement, you know? Hey, welcome to the stream. Howdy, howdy. Here, let me trigger this with the autopilot. Let's take a look. We zoom in, we're right over it. And it does not want to switch over. So, question answered. It's not going to do it. So let's go ahead and hit our next waypoint after I turn off this. These are about the only airplane I've ever seen that climbs when you make a turn. Most other airplanes just start to descend. Fighter physics are radically interesting. Alright, so I guess while I'm up here I could do some pretty cool maneuvers. Let's see. Nope, not trying to sink here. See a little bit of an inverted. Oh, it does not like flying inverted. Alright. Well, now we know. Does not like being inverted. How many out? Oh yeah, we lost a lot of altitude on that one. Other than that, still a fun airplane. Honestly, really fun airplane. Probably do a sonic boom run across the water. Probably do that as soon as I hit the St. Petersburg vortex. And we'll cut across, do a pretty cool descent, and then just Just afterburner it straight across the Gulf. That'll be pretty fun. Let's try this autopilot again. Let's see, we're pitching up again. So, trimming my nose down. It's still continuing to pitch up. So that's the part that I find pretty weird about this airplane. Is that autopilot is, I don't know whether to say it's useful or not, but it's not as functional as, say, something in a more general or commercial application. This plane still will climb, even though I just trimmed down just a little bit just to keep my nose level. Look, it's already back up to climbing, so I'll take my trim back out and I'll switch off the autopilot and take over from here, because it just does not work for altitude for some reason. Hey, welcome to the stream, folks. Howdy, howdy. Almost at the St. Petersburg VOR. That's Tampa right up there. Right there. Beautiful old Tampa Bay. There's Tampa. There's MacDill Air Force Base. Hanging out right there. And there's St. Petersburg. Over there we got Lakeland. Yeah. Wonder if I can see Tampa's airport. Yep, there it is. There's Tampa's airport. Nice. So, what we're gonna do, as soon as we pass here, we're gonna just hit it. Hit a pretty steep descent, and then see what we can do close to the water. That'll be pretty cool, right? All the way up from 50,000 feet. Messing around on a Friday in a fighter jet. Fighter Jet Fridays. I should probably make that like a series for the channel. Fighter Jet Fridays. That would be pretty awesome. That would be pretty darn awesome. Let's see what we can see here. Huh. Man, that is so cool. Just hear all that drag being created. So if anyone's hanging out in the chat, just drop in the chat your favorite aircraft, your favorite fighter jet at least. I'm interested to see what you guys' favorites are. Up there's Tampa. Big old runway and airport. Honestly, not a huge wait either when you're down there. If you ever been to Tampa, it's probably one of the more tolerable airports to fly out of. Super nice airport. Not like over the top or anything, but usually you can get to your flight pretty late and still make it. Not like Atlanta where you really need to be there like 4 hours early because the freaking lines are just ridiculous. Alright, so let's cut. over here. Let's throttle back. Let's get as low to the ground as we can. Let's shoot to the next steer point. Let's take a look at this. Mach number. Okay, so we're approaching 1.5 in our Mach. Before it's slowing down. Slowing down as we come down in pressure. Excuse me, come up in pressure, it's slowing down. All right, we broke 10,000 feet. Now this is going to be interesting because the reference here on the ground is virtually non-existent, especially with all these reflections. So it's going to be a fun time trying to gauge this right. This is interesting. Okay, I actually can see the ocean now. All right, 1,200 feet. This is actually really sketchy. In a jet, yes. At this point, the reflections are so weird on the glare shield up front. I'm really just flying this out of Lindbergh to really gauge my depth. All right. Right. Yeah. Mach 1. .3 it looks like. Oh, we're climbing a bit now. Trying to get that nose down just a bit. It's gonna pretty much scream at me. But let's go ahead, pull that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. That's insane. All right. Let's try and not run out of fuel here. Oh my gosh. That was insane. Oh wow. I didn't look at the Gmail, and I'll have to go back in the stream and see what that was, but geez. Definitely don't want to run out of fuel like this. Not this far offshore. Oh man. Yeah, I think about right around here. About 28,000 would suffice. Here in cruise. It's not too bad. I thought it'd be a little bit more scary. I mean, I wasn't that close to the ground. But yeah, probably should, at least next time, find somewhere to do a bit like canyon runs. And like a Maverick thing, just fly through like a canyon and really push this thing to its limits. It'd be pretty fun how nimble these jets are, but I think I'm gonna do that next. Take it through some canyons and stuff. So from here, just got to keep my eyes out because I'm flying this pretty much visual now to get into Eglin. So just gonna fly direct to the airport and then just do a right downwind on the runway 12, hit base, then final, and put her down. Do a quick little roll. Woo! Oh man, these things are so fun. Actually, can I do a full loop on this thing? Oh my gosh. 6. Oh wow. Jeez, I didn't lose any altitude hardly on that, or at least I picked it back up right where I was. But yeah, she's stalling right now, flat stalling. Trying to get her back up. There we go. We're good there. Man, that's pretty fun. I think I got like 6.5 G's on that one. Reset master caution. Oh my gosh, wow. It'd be so cool to just hook this up to like a motion simulator and then really get some fun going on. Honestly, I'm excited to do this just because when I was in college, the Marines would come recruiting. I think it was the Marines. I believe it was the Marines. They would come recruiting and they would bring, every year they would bring an F-18 simulator onto campus. And, you know, they'd have a good time just like laughing at all the college students that have no idea how to fly an airplane, let alone a fighter jet. And then I'd come in there and it's just like so serious, so quiet. I'm like, do you want to join? And I was just like, no. Partly because my eyesight's really bad, given the title blindfold pilot. But yeah, it's something I thought about doing as a kid, was getting into being a fighter pilot. And then figured, well, eyesight isn't the greatest. Airline pilot. Got a little bit older, eyesight still isn't great. And yeah, I just stuck to, I'll just be an engineer. Design airplanes for a living instead. So that's just how it went. But I mean, I just loved every moment of it. Hanging out there, and they had the simulator there, and it's just side stick and rudder. You're just zoned in. It's just super cool. It's the coolest thing ever. You ever see one of those, you gotta try it. Just gotta try it. So that made going to college worth it. Hanging out with recruiters and flying airplane simulators and stuff. I was like, this is the coolest thing. And it's honestly my favorite thing to talk about. It's flight sims and stuff. Flight sim hardware. It's just cool. And I meet a lot of cool people that are interested by it, or people that have their own setups and stuff, and we get to talking about computers and flight sim hardware gadgets and different flight sims, different aircraft of flight sims, and then we talk about, you know, just general, commercial, however you want to do. It's amazing. It is amazing. Take a peek over here. Here we are. Oh, I guess I can while I'm up over water, theoretically. So in order to activate the main gun on this airplane, you're gonna switch the master arm switch to on. You're gonna switch to attack. Air to air, sorry. Air to air mode. And just a moment. Let me just so 51, yeah. So I just point my nose down at the earth. I hit my, yep, there it is. So let me center up, just right there on the HUD. You'll see coming off the left hand side of the airplane. Here it is, right here in the HUD. There it is. There's the gun. Pretty cool, but like I said, not a lot of every 14,000 feet. Jeez, gotta get back up. Switch that off. Switch back to our HSD here. All right, here we go. Oh, still goes. I just sworn I switched that thing off. But that'll be your air to ground setting. This is your air to air, air to ground, and then you can switch through the menus supposedly to figure out, sorry, not to figure out, but to choose whatever armament you're trying to use. One. Hit the return button. Now we go back to our HSD. Still on the attack mode for some reason. Slow this girl down before we hit over land. Alright, let me figure out how to get off of this attack mode. There we go. Have to click air to air again. And this, I believe, would be your sort of like sensor, which will supposed to pick up targets. Be your targeting sensor. And how fast are we going now? About 0.9 miles. Hill. And if I remember correctly, we were sitting at about 3005 on the altimeter here. Cool. 3005, and our airport, we should run into that visually, and like I said, we'll try and join the downwind and complete our approach that way. Gonna have to locate the airport. Hey, welcome to the stream. Howdy, howdy. So yeah, that's actually pretty quick. I mean, compared to what you might do in like a, you know, a piston aircraft. These things are great. Let me take a peek over. I think it's just over the river there. Should be. Just beyond. I am pretty sure that's it. I think that might be Tyndall that I'm flying over. One of those. I don't normally fly in this area of Florida a lot. Yep, still no runway in sight. That's fine. This is always fun. Gives you a nice view of everything.
Altitude.
Oh, we broke 10,000 feet, didn't we?
Altitude.
Yeah, we did.
Altitude.
4 G's or so on that. Nice. How are we on speed? Geez, still almost Mach 1 with that one. Alright, let's go ahead, slow her down. Silence the master caution. Or reset the master caution, I should say. So it looks like we're just going to end up flying this on a 1-2. Actually, let me just check my... not the glare. One time I don't need the glare. Alright. So that's 120 there. So yeah, I'm basically approaching it on a downwind. Yep. I stay on a 300 heading. Should be good. Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. That's elsewhere. Pump faked again. Oh, pump faked again. Trust me, I'm pretty decent at navigation. I'm just fumbling today. Fumbling today. Staying on 300. Try and get down a little bit some more. Gonna keep screaming at me. That's okay. It only does that because your gear is not down. As long as you put your landing gear down, it'll silence itself. Or actually, it won't trigger the caution, master caution. But who knew? I'm actually pretty decent at flying fighter jet, or at least an F-16. We answered that question. Oh man, just floating in my seat right now. Okay, that was fun. I just had to pop through that cloud.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
Pretty solid wing views. Okay, it should be just beyond this basin right here. Not basin, but bay. I guess I can touch on what I was talking about earlier in the stream. Yeah, once you get closer to the ground, it becomes a bit more challenging and difficult. For a lot of people struggle with these things. You get further away from the ground, it's, you know, it's like sandbox mode. But once you get close to the ground and you're trying to actually land this, that's where you pretty much run into your trouble with you know, managing your control inputs and having to be careful with your pitch and power, especially on jets like these, because you're pretty much flying pretty steep, like 13 on your alpha, above, you know, 130 or whatever knots. So you're pretty slow, pretty steep in angle, a little bit hard to see, and you're, you know, at that point aviating your way down. That's really what makes these folks stand out that actually fly these things for a living. Like, it's not the most simple thing to do, especially if you're actually sitting there and, you know, you're in this flying missile. It's one hell of a roll for sure. Oh, there it is. This time I know that's it. There's our runway. We are at 5,000 feet. Just about 5,400. And we're gonna go ahead and take it downwind and then land right on this beautiful strip. 12,000 feet of pure asphalt. So let's get a little bit lower.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
There we are. Right below this cloud deck. Slow her down.
Altitude. 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 Altitude.
And just like that, I feel ridiculous because I just lost. Let's do this. Oh, there's no way I did that. There's just no way I just did that. All right. All right, definitely was too steep of a base leg turn. Sheesh. Head on anti-skid, landing lights are on. This is fun. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. This is not how you set up an approach, but I can fumble with this well enough to get her where she needs to be. There's just no way. That is so bad. That is so bad. That is so bad. What the heck? I'm gonna have to replay that. There's just no way. There's no way I landed that nose down. There's just no way. Okay, we're gonna have to watch that again because there's just absolutely no way. I'm gonna need to see that again. From the tower. From the tower, there's my itty bitty airplane on a horribly stabilized approach. What in the physics is that? There's just no way. There's just no way I banked that airplane like that. I'm calling BS on that. Let's see. That aileron is flat. I know, right? Okay, no, that's very much so correct. I was definitely up it. Okay. All right, you know what? Okay. You know what? I will take that L. I will take that L. Park and brake. All right, fine. I'll take my L on that one. Well then, that is that. Do not land with, you know, your ailerons in. Hastily banked into that one. Well, there you go. There you have it. Learn from my mistakes, right? Learn from my mistakes. That is just insane. Alright, turn this thing off. My goodness, that is so embarrassing. That is just peak embarrassment right there. Peak embarrassment. Alrighty. Well, there you have it. There you have it. How to not land an F-16. Well, with that, folks, thanks for hanging out with this episode. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time. Thanks for watching me fail at that. I'll see you all.